Well, I do appreciate you taking a couple minutes on this
Anytime.
afternoon to chat with me. So,
Sure.
Albert, you are a filmmaker and you have so much going on in your world. And you also refer to yourself as a digital journalist, which I think is the coolest title ever. And we met
So,
by chance last year at one of the
mhm,
dealerships when you had come in, when you were doing some consulting work with one of the companies that we were talking to. And
mhm,
I'm so glad that we reconnected over LinkedIn. And
yes.
I'm very inspired by all the things that you're doing, and seeing somebody kind of take off and have all these really exciting opportunities happen,
Mhm.
I think are just awesome.
Yeah, thank you for having me on your platform. I mean, during these pandemic times, telling you a lot of people are always seeking and looking for things to be inspired by, or looking for new ways to reconnect or invent
Definitely.
something new because of what they were doing back then. They can't do it anymore, you know? So your platform helps a lot. You know,
Thank
I
you.
ran, I know I kept in touch with you through LinkedIn, and then
Right.
watching all the other shows and these shows that you put out in the past with CEOs and presidents and other people, even your intern. I even saw that. That was pretty interesting.
Thank
I
you.
was like, wow, I gotta
Yeah,
hit up
that's a huge
Melanie. Hey,
compliment.
we gotta chop it up.
Definitely. So I'm so fascinated by all the things that you do. And I don't know too much about your history, but I know that you've been in film for a long time. And I
Yeah,
wanted to kind of get your career story for you so people can get a little, get to know you
sure.
a little
Well,
bit more.
I mean, I went. I mean, I started. I was a musician during high school, and then everything happened when I was graduating high school, and I shifted into like the dramatic uh, theater because of an experience that I had accidentally being put in a movie that I really didn't want to be in, and it was, if you're not in this movie, you don't play an extra, you don't graduate from high school. So yes, I graduated from the high school, East Side High School, Paterson, New Jersey. Morgan Freeman playing the role of my principal, Joe Clark, lean on me.
Wow.
So being in that project, that was my senior year. Every senior had to be an extra. So by becoming an extra and seeing how they were building and transforming this school from like what it used to look like in the 70s, and then bringing it back to the present when he like changed it and all this other stuff, I was like, wow. I mean, I think
That's
this
a
is where I need
great
to be,
movie.
but I want to be behind the camera. I want to do,
Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to do what they were doing back there. Even though I mean, I only come out for like a split second throwing a French fry in the cafeteria during a fight, but so I went to college, and I jumped right into that those studies, which were dramatic arts, and then from dramatic arts I started writing, and then I started like learning all the technical stuff. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was like, okay, I can do sound, I can do camera, I'm a photographer, I can do video, I can edit. I became a master at editing, and I started teaching all the kids how to edit and all this other stuff. Never in my in never in my mind have I ever thought that I would direct a film or a project or a television series or a documentary or a music video or commercial. That was never like I didn't never envision that. I just envisioned that I was going to be involved in film. I wanted to go to California. This is what I wanted to do, and that was it. And apparently, I came out, graduated with from NYU with a film degree, and then I started working as an intern for Univision in Teterboro, New Jersey, doing the news as an editor. And then next, someone, you always meet somebody who this and
Right.
that, and you work from from the ground level. And I wound up in California working on a TV show called Resurrection Boulevard, which was
Okay.
an episodic series for time at Paramount. So
Wow.
I lived in LA for about a year, did that, and then, of course, you meet people, hooked
Right.
up with the producers, and then every single time those producers were doing something, I've noticed that even though you do films, okay, they're doing these feature films, but they're also working with Michael Jackson and they're doing concerts. and they're also working with Alicia Keys, or they're working with, like, they're doing the Olympics. They're doing like the opening of the Olympics with all the music and the fireworks. And I'm like, so you just don't really do films? I'm like, no. I mean, we could make a film once every 3 years, and in between those 3 years, even though we'll make some money, you want to stay busy. So
Right.
as a producer, you get to do all these other things, and I learned that I picked up. And as a mentor, when I'm speaking to students and stuff like that that want to go into film, or they came out of the film school, or, and oh my god, I don't know what I want to do now, how do I break in, how do I break in, I always you know preach, do everything, learn everything that involves filmmaking, so that you don't just call yourself a director of photography, which
Right.
is considered the camera guy, and if you don't get a job like that, then you won't work. But if you did a little bit of sound, and you did a little bit of lighting and gripping and all this other stuff, you will always be involved in productions, because they're always going to take you for anything, even if you don't wind up doing what you really have passion for. But
Right.
once you're in there, you're meeting a lot of people, and that's what happened with me. I met so many people to a point that I winded up being rep by an agency long time ago in my 20s, and doing commercials. I had the opportunity to go to Italy to do a commercial for this company called Diesel. They used to make the jeans and the sneakers
Right.
and the
Right.
really
Right.
cool
Right.
shirts and all this
Yeah.
stuff. And one of those cats, which I didn't even know he was Dominican, because I'm Dominican. He was like he was like a part owner, or one of the I don't know, COOs or something like that. He loved my work, and he was like, dude, like, you never thought about making movies? Like, have you made it? I said, nah, not really. I said, but I went to school for that. And
Right.
he was like, listen, you should start writing. So I said, well, I got something. Why? You want to read it? I said, well, what do you got? So I told him the idea. And for some reason, he was like, oh my God, I love it. How much do you need? And I said, really? Just like that? I said, yeah, yeah, yeah. What do you want to shoot? You want to shoot in New York? And here it is. I made my first feature film called Red Passport, that got acquired by Maverick Entertainment, which was Guy Ritchie and
Wow.
Madonna's film label. And it winded up being one of the first Latin films to ever be distributed on Netflix, when they used to deliver the DVD to your house.
Wow. That is
And it's still on
awesome.
Netflix.
That is the
Yeah.
coolest
So
story I've heard in a very long time.
after doing that, after doing that, that's it. I mean, I made a name for myself. I didn't make too much money. I didn't make that much money, but I made a name for myself. And then in the Latin music industry, I had the opportunity to work, to shoot, to be the shooter for Mark Anthony's very very first music video, when he
Wow.
went to salsa to do Spanish music,
Wow. I've seen
which
him
was
in
called El
concert.
Último Beso with Eddie Harris. Yeah, and then after that, with that label, which had Celia Cruz, it had Tito, it had like all these big, like, conglomerate, like, salsa music, all work. I must have done like over 100 videos after that. And then I
Wow.
went to BMG, I went to Arista, Universal Music, doing music videos of all genres. But, the drum companies came out, and then I hit. All the record companies went, and next thing you know, people's music was on Napster. Everything was Napster. So we weren't doing music videos anymore, because the record companies folded, and every artist went on, for themselves, which is how
Right.
it is today. Then
That's
I
such a
shifted
cool
from that,
story.
went into, what was that?
I said that's such a cool story.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. I mean, I have a lot of eagles around here. So yeah, so then from there, obviously, again, the networking, you meet people that get you. Oh, we want you to be a part of this. We want you to be a part of that. And through all of that stuff, I winded up going into music video. More, instead of music videos, I got out and started doing documentary. I ended up producing my own TV show for Univision, Spanish, and it was something that I took advantage of, because I was like, you know what? I don't want to compete with Hollywood, and I don't want to compete with the American market. I want to do what I learned to do in America and take it to my country, to the Dominican Republic. We don't have it. And why don't I just go back to my country and educate and start a film industry and talk to the government and start doing films and start doing their own stories instead of having the Dominicans go to the movie theaters to pay to watch Spider-Man and Hulk and other stuff made in Hollywood. Why not have them make their own Dominican films and start building an economy where they can make their own stories and make money, like
I love it. It's
own
awesome.
movie theaters. So that happened. You know, I kind of like dreamed big on that part. And I got hired by the president of the Dominican Republic back in 2000. Well, actually, 2008. I went after with all the money made. Then I went and I wrote a film, but I wanted to make a Dominican film. It's called Hermaphrodite. About a person that's born with sexes, and she's living in this little town, only like 2,000 people. There's only like one church, one doctor, one nightclub, one of everything. And here's this strange human being born with two sexes, and no one understands what the hell is going on and what this person's an alien or what it is. And it takes place in 1967,
Wow.
which is even worse. There was no technology.
Right.
So I did the story. I wrote the story. I financed it myself. I made a deal with Universal Pictures in Orlando. They provided all the gear, all the cameras. They flew it down to the Dominican Republic. I got JetBlue to sponsor the transport of all the gear and all the film and everything to DR. Shot vision cameras, 9 Super 5, 30 up mountains of the film, 27 countries, and
That's amazing.
so after that was that sort of like opened the doors for Hollywood to come into DR.
Mm-hmm.
So Vin Diesel 2 months later and does Fast and the Furious in the Dominican. They start to land in the Dominican Republic, and then Vin Diesel goes around saying, I was a Dominican in another life. I'm Dominican. And he's waving a flag, and now the Dominican Republic is like his second home, right?
Right.
The president at that time said, you know what? Let's do something. Let's create a committee, and let's make our own film law on this island where we're going to invite the entire world to come and use our island as a location for all their films. Have James Bond come down here. Come, let them do the Pirates of the Caribbean Part 10, and we'll put we'll build the studio, and we'll do this, and we'll do that, and we'll give tax incentives to any filmmaker and producer that wants to come here and set up a shop or build a school,
Wow.
or do anything, because that's going to help the economy. At the time that I made Hermaphrodite, it was only 3 films every 4 years. Today, 2020, before the pandemic, Dominican Republic makes 24 to 30 films a year, all fully financed by the government, all like tax incentives.
That's
And the films are now the Dominican Republic has their own film commission now, which was put in place by law. So basically I moved to the Dominican Republic back in 2008. I lived there for 5 years until his term was up. And then, I was with Danny Glover, Morgan Freeman, Marissa Tomei, all these people, like filmmakers from Argentina, Mexico, Spain, Japan. They all came to live in the Dominican Republic for like 3 years by the government. Like, we were part of the government, and what we did was we created a film law.
Wow.
That would allow you, who would own a company in the Dominican Republic, you pay your taxes, and you are allowed to take 20% of your taxes or 10% of your taxes and put it in any film project and completely write it off.
Wow.
Just so that the economy, cinema would boost, and it would create jobs for everyone in the Dominican Republic to work on films, so that production companies that will come into the country to make movies, they don't have to fly all their people in. Now they can hire locals to be part of their crew.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But his term was up. He couldn't run for re-election because he already had done 2 terms. he had to step down, and in DR, which is like a third world country, the new president comes in, everybody has to pack up their bags and leave, and that's what happened. And I wound up coming back to the States, but the law stayed. So he didn't. That new president didn't do anything to the law, but we were all sort of like replaced. Became, it's like a whole new party thing that it just happens, or it just happens when they change presidents. So after that, I came back and I just continued doing my thing, and then I just built my own production company, and I just said, you know what, I'm gonna go into healthcare. I started doing music, not music videos. I was doing a lot of videos for medical, uh, patient testimonial, medical videos that would help. Like, let's say someone was scared of getting a
Hmm.
surgery, back, spine surgery or something,
Right.
and everything turned out well. Like they're work now, they're skiing, they're back to their life, and they thought that they were gonna be a vegetable. Now I get them on camera, and now their video entices other patients who are scared and skeptical about it,
Right.
entice them to come to these clinics to get their surgeries
Got
done.
it. I've seen
And
videos like
I
that.
helped them a lot. Yeah. So I partnered with Northwell in New York, Maimonides Hospital in Brooklyn. I do a lot of stuff for them. Um, and then through that, then we went into like all this other stuff, documentaries, and everyone's like, when are you making your next film? And it's like, I'm busy doing all this other stuff. I haven't had time to write, blah, 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 blah. I wind up consulting for all these other companies, which is the company that you met, that's how we met.
Right.
And I got into the LED space where we were like, manufacturing and selling LEDs, which were like, the big LED walls that you see in Times Square, in
Right.
arenas and stores and that
Right.
kind of stuff. And then I got into that community, into that industry, built a lot of networks. Like I'm still connected with a lot of these factories in China who
That's great.
manufacture them. Where now I have the ability to be able to sell them, to rent them, in
That's great.
any form. But then we get hit with the pandemic, right?
Right.
Everyone's stuck, and it's just like, okay, what do we do now? Oh my God, graduation, this and that. I'm looking at all my gear, and I'm like, damn, I got all this gear. What can I do with this gear? So I call my boy up in Boston, and I'm like, dude, I mean, can we do this virtually? And he's like, yeah, and I think this guy, LeBron James, is producing something with Obama, doing a whole virtual graduation. It's going to go on national TV. Let's check it out. We watched it, came out. I was like, dude, we can do this.
Right.
Since then, we knocked out like about 11 graduations. We've done
Wow.
11 virtual graduations. And then those graduations blended into doing virtual galas, where now we're fundraising because these people can't rent a hall to do a gala and do their
That is
auctions
so
and
cool.
their paddle drives and whatever. So we've been doing that. Actually, I'm in the works right now doing. I just finished one last week for an organization that has a foundation in Africa and Ethiopia. So we finished that. Now we're getting ready to do one for the Robert F. Kennedy Foundation, and we have like, oh my God, it's like there's a whole bunch of stuff in the works.
You're
It's
involved in so
between
much.
that, yeah.
No, you really are. It's amazing how much energy
Thank
you
you.
have. I love
Thank you.
I
No,
love
I
connecting with
and you
people.
have to have listen, and Melanie, you have to have passion for what you do.
Right.
Like I wake up in the morning and I'm like, okay, who am I Zooming with today? What do I have to edit today? What script do I have to write for the town? Because as a digital journalist, it's another thing. This was all born during the pandemic. I was like, I have all this gear, I have drones, I have all this stuff. How do I make this stuff work? Because people need to make it work. You
Right.
can't just work from your house in your underwear and pajama, looking at your computer and just talking to people.
Right.
How do you make the stuff work,
Right.
right? How do people market? How do you advertise? How do we get people into the cars? Now people are scared. I was like, I need a car, but I don't know what to do. I don't think I should go to a dealership and buy one. So how do I do it?
Right.
So I come up with a solution, and I'll bring it to a dealership, and I say, listen, we can design, custom make for you a virtual test drive where people can call the dealership. I want to try out the X7. How do I do that? Well, easy. I'm going to send you a link. Hit that link on your computer, and you're virtually going to test drive this X7. If it pushes you to really want to drive that, then we take it to the next step where we'll have the car delivered, sanitized to your house, and put it right in front of your house with the keys in a bag, sanitized, and you have it for the day to test drive it.
Wow. That's
And of
pretty
course, there's all this other paperwork and stuff that they do before that.
right.
They test drive the car, they come back, contact the dealer, I want to buy it. Put the order in, bam. Now the car gets delivered to his house instead of him ever having to step foot into the dealership. And during that virtual test drive, he's able to see every single car that's in that showroom. So we put the entire production for all these. And the thing is, it's very cost effective. Like, it's not like, oh my God, it's got to be expensive. No, we're in COVID times. People
Right.
are like holding on to their money. There's no one knows what's going to happen in the future. So we don't want to kill people by
Right.
charging them. So instead of charging for production, we just charge a subscription fee month to month. No ties where, oh, it has to be a minimum 6 months or a year. No, it's month to month. You pay $300 a month. You have this platform that you're going to be able to push to your clients, and you get to sell cars
Pretty
and
cool.
make them feel safe. So that's one. The second thing is film festivals. You can't go to a movie theater.
Right.
So right now I'm actually putting a digital film festival together where you get to buy a ticket or get the ticket free on it. It sends you a link, and on the day of the screening of that movie, if you were to the movie, you
Right.
just click on that and you watch it on your smart TV and your tablet, computer, or
Wow.
your phone.
That's so cool.
Now, the best thing about this is that when the movie's over, we cut to a live stream of a Q&A with the actors and the filmmakers, and you get to have an interaction directly with them and ask them all you
What
want
a
about
great
that.
idea.
So we're putting that together right now. I'm doing
Wow.
it, working it with a film festival on the West Coast. Um, and with the LEDs, it's like, okay, what are we going to do with all these LEDs? Simple. Let's talk to the towns. Talk to the towns. We went to Boston. Boston had a little grant. We can do a drive-in theater. We'll do a drive-in theater. You have everybody come in. You give them popcorn, all this stuff, and we RF the audio signal into their cars so that they don't even have to step out to hear
I
it. So
love
now
the
we built these
concept.
big,
I
uh,
love
uh,
that.
yeah. So basically, it's work to
Right.
accommodate you during the pandemic until the vaccine comes out.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
what else, right?
Yeah,
Um,
no, that's
and then
amazing.
the journalist part is, again, what am I going to do with all this gear? Okay, here I'm living in this town, and when I go out before pandemic, every single time something was going on, there was a flyer. They would put a flyer up, a
Right.
flyer. And back in the days, we had what was called community access. And people
Right.
had like access to be part of a channel where they could do. That's dead. And the reason why it's dead is because I have Verizon, you have Altice,
Right.
and they have Xfinity, and they have all these different
Right.
carriers. But the cable access is one channel, and if you don't have that carrier, you can't see it, right?
Exactly.
So I proposed it to the mayor of my town, and I said, listen, let's just make a digital community access. We started off with you. We do a couple of shows, and we start inviting and integrating the community, and we start producing our own digital magazine where you can talk about COVID, numbers going up and down, the new playground that you're putting, or the water that we're bringing in, or the pipe that's going to get cleaned, or the fundraising for the family that lost their house because of a fire,
Right.
or so and so is making masks and she's donating, blah blah blah, and then invite them, the residents, to come on the show, and we start spotlighting what they're doing
I
and
love
what
it.
they want to share with their community
It's
so
such a
that
great
everyone can be
idea.
united. Right now, we're going, so we call it Inside Secaucus. And we do 2 shows a month. It goes on every platform, every group, Facebook group on Secaucus, Instagram, everything. And by the time the mayor releases it, it's it's like 10,000, 15,000 views in a week
Wow.
because everyone is sharing it and sharing it and sharing it and
Right.
sharing
And
it.
so
And then
many
you
people
see
are home.
all the comments.
Right. So
Yeah,
many people are home on their phones right
common thing.
now.
So you, yes, yes. So it's a good thing. I mean, this is something that was proposed. I mean, he's like, hey, let's do it. He fell in love with it. They took it to the town council, and voila, yeah, I'm now I'm part of it. I'm part of the game, not the political game, but the game. So these are, and again, it's like going back to the passion. I'm waking up every morning to know that I'm just gonna go and do what I really love,
I
which
love
is
that.
tell stories, produce stories, impact, humanity, and like trying to bring people together and make them forget about all this bad stuff and negative stuff in the CNN and the Fox and whatever, and then just trying to bring light into their home, like just doing all these different little things, and then helping small businesses strive,
Right.
with these virtual productions, you know, because I'm not killing them with the prices either.
Right.
That's probably why I'm busy, because I'm affordable.
How do you do it all? I mean, how do you manage your time? Because you have so many balls in the air at any given time. How do you structure your days?
Well, her, her name is Carmen McPherson. That's my wife. She's an amazing production coordinator.
It's
Yes,
funny.
she's an amazing production coordinator. She does all the coordinating. I mean, she's been my ride or die. We've been together for 11 years.
That's
And she's a ride or die. She knows everything that has to do from marketing to logistics, putting things together, connecting the meetings, and like making sure that even when we're in production and we're working, like even with the gala, she's in charge
right.
of making sure that the cars are taken out of the garages and put in and put on the street, making sure that the food arrives to the set so that we can feed the team and the actors and whatever, and she helps me just focus on the creative aspect, and I never have to worry about all this other stuff that's going around me.
That's
She
great.
she takes care of that. Fires go fire. We get fires. She puts them out, and I'll never know what happened. They'll be like, Albert, you don't even want to know what happened, and we're not even gonna tell you. I'm like, what happened? Oh my God, if you only knew. But we took care of it. So I'm like, all right,
That's
and
great.
then we have the coding aspect, because a lot of the stuff involves coding, like for like what we do with Cartender. That's a lot of coding, right? Like you have to create apps. So a lot of people in the industry, they know that there's an affiliation to my company, which is called Prodigy Alpha. That's a company that's owned by my son, who's going to turn 18 now. He started the company when he was 14, and he started coding when he was 8, 9 years old.
Wow.
Now he just graduated from high school. He's getting ready to go to college.
Wow.
He's dual majoring in cybersecurity and computer science. He's
Wow.
an app developer. He codes. He's done stuff for Disney. He's worked with the theaters and stuff for
Amazing.
iPad development. He's an Apple certified developer, and he teaches. He's teaching for 3 years at Hofstra University, coding to kids on the weekends
That is
on payroll.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Did
So
a good
he's part of
job.
our team. Yeah. So when we're doing the live streams and we're doing the virtual stuff, he's the one on the back end handling all the coding and stuff and making sure that the connection and we're going live and all that other stuff. So I never have to worry about that.
I
So when you
love
really think about my team is my wife and my son. And that's it.
I
It's
love
three of
it.
us.
I saw this
And then
thing
there's
the other day. It was a meme and it said, "There's no better team than your family." And
of
it
course.
totally resonates with everything that you're saying right now.
Yeah. There's a lot of love. There's always gonna be love. Um, Difficult to get backstabbed. Like I mean, the arguments you can have will stay at home. And there's a lot of mutual respect, and it's with them. It's really what I really admire is that we're home as a family, and when we're home as a family, we're not at home talking about business all the time. No,
Right.
when it's time to do business, we put on our business hats, and then the family gets put away for a little bit, and then we handle what we need to handle because we have to pay bills and
Yeah.
we have to take care of what we have over our head. And
Right.
I also have a 9-year-old, so he's another one that's looking at us, and he wants to be us when he grows up.
Right.
And
That's
we
so
give him a
cute.
little piece of the pie sometimes when we can. So So, which is another project. The other project I'm working on right now that I'm finishing, which everybody's asking me, is when's your next film? And my next film is a film that I shot 5 years ago in Cuba, Havana, and it took me 5 years to make it. Right now, we're in post, we're editing it, and the lead actor is my 9-year-old, which I shot when he was 5.
Wow, that is
So yeah,
awesome.
so it's
I
all in the
can't wait to
family.
see it.
It's all in the family. Yes,
That's awesome.
I'm definitely gonna send you a trailer once we cut it
I
out.
can't wait to
We're
see
gonna
it.
cut the trailer soon, so I'll send it to you.
So
Yeah,
let me
and that's
let
just
me
the
ask,
piece that we know we'll, we'll send it to film festivals and stuff. So,
that's so cool. Let me ask you something. So if somebody was, trying to get into the film industry, or maybe they're a student right now who's thinking about film school, you're so involved with your children in the business. What advice would you give to, a younger man or woman who is trying to get into the business?
it's the advice that I had mentioned earlier. Um, don't stick to one thing. Learn all of it. I mean, it's filmmaking is like filmmaking is like medicine, where you can become a doctor, but if you're a surgeon, you're a surgeon. If you're a doctor, and you don't do surgery, then you're going to be a doctor in another field, right?
Right.
Um, in film, it's there's just so much you can do, right? And
Mhm.
it's like I said, if you carry the title of being a cameraman, you're a cameraman. If you're an audio guy, you're an audio guy. You're a sound guy.
Right.
If you're a graphics guy, you're a graphics guy. If you're the light guy, you're called a grip. If you're an editor, you only edit, right? But if you do all of it, if you learn a little bit of everything from editing to shooting to writing, screenwriting, writing treatments, producing, doing production coordinating,
Mhm.
um, becoming an assistant director. You can become a director. And not only that, later on, you're like, okay, I can do all this stuff. I can hire crews. And now you become an executive producer where not only are you just producing, now you're getting the money and you're financing. You're bringing in the money to make these projects
So
because now you're like the captain who's steering this big ship, right?
right.
So my thing is that in film, when you go to film school, they give you, I mean, I don't know, when I was in film school, they gave me to learn everything. They were like, you don't you want to learn how to push a dolly and don't you want to learn how to do it? And I said, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it, to the point that I was even like developing my own film strips in the bathroom. So because it was film back then, it wasn't digital. But now it's like, I just had a friend of mine just hit me up 2 weeks ago. We're playing golf and he was like, listen, my daughter just graduated from Montclair and like, she wants to act, you know? And I'm like, okay, well, acting is a little bit different. If you were to tell me she was behind the camera, then I could tell you, listen, I'm shooting something next week. Give her my number. I can use her. I can hire her for the day, and I can make her a production assistant, because a
Right.
production assistant is going to do a little bit of everything on set. You're going to go get this. You're going to do this. You might be on the set holding the cable. You might push the camera. You might pack this. You might pack that. You're there. You're with the directors. You're with everybody on set doing everything, right? But she was like, I want to be an actor. So I'm like, wow. Well, as an actor, for me, it's like being an athlete. Like you're in school and you just want to play ball. And I'm like, oh, I know I'm gonna make it to the NBA. Okay. If you bring it out to the world, it's gonna happen. But you also gotta think and be the devil's advocate. What if I get hurt?
Right.
What if it's over? What's your backup? So
Right.
acting is the same thing. What's your backup? A lot of people remember, oh, I'm gonna be an actor. I'm packing up my stuff from New York. I'm going to LA. And then next thing you know, 3 years later, when I connect with them, what you do? I just did one little theater thing here, whatever. What you been doing? Waiting tables on Sunset Boulevard. Like, and I'm not saying that that's bad, but to be like a hit actor is like it's like a shot in a million, you
Right.
know? With me, it's like, okay, I accidentally became a film director. I direct films, but I don't call myself a film director. I call myself a filmmaker because I can do every single element. Tomorrow you can call me and say, Albert, can you do sound for this? Yes. And I'm there with my sound gear. Then you
Right.
can call me next week, Albert, can you fly, can you get an aerial shot of our, yeah, I'll come with my drone and I'll fly and I'll shoot 4K for you, whatever. And I'm shooting a drone. Next thing someone calls me tomorrow, like, I have a play. Can you direct it for 3 days? Yeah, sure, I can direct the actors. But you can do all those things because you learn that in school, right? So it's better to not just close yourself into one area, because if that one area doesn't have an opportunity for you, now you're sitting on the sidelines watching all these jack of all trades take everything, you know?
Right.
Um, with me is you can call me, you can tell me, Albert, hey, I'm directing concerts. We're doing tons of concerts. I've done I don't even know how many concerts I've done at TD Bank Arena, at Barclays, at Radio City Music Hall. Filmmaker? That guy that made a movie? Yeah, that guy that made a movie in the Dominican Republic is directing that big ass concert that you're watching right now with all those hip hop artists. That's me. But what I'm trying to say is, I took every single advantage, every single opportunity that was given to me to learn how to do all those things because they all falls under the same category.
Right.
So every student that wants to start out there, never just pick up the camera, learn how to shoot, learn how to write. And so I was like, I don't know how to write. Well, then you know what? If Melanie, if I ask you, what's your story about? You have an interesting story that you said something to me the other day, blah, blah, blah. And then you just start telling me the story. Da, 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 da. You know what? If you record yourself and you wrote that down, you just wrote a script.
Right.
That's a treatment. That turns into a television series or anything. And
Right.
people don't understand it. I believe every single human being is a storyteller. We are all storytellers and we all tell our stories differently. We just don't know that we have the capacity to take it to that level, which you can. That's why people could just say, oh, you know what? I'm gonna write a book. Write a book. Never going to school to learn anything about writing a book. And then, they got 4 books on Amazon and
Right.
they're making a kill. New York Times bestseller. Blah. I was like, really? Wow, that's pretty impressive. But it's because what you have up here, you put it down on paper and you bring it to life.
I
Because
believe
that's
that.
basically art.
Yeah.
It's just basically art. So I just know, and you put your mind to that. The best thing about this industry is that because there's so many of us, a lot, that just making one connection, two connection, or even a third connection with three people, you're already on the way. You're crossing a bridge to do something. You're going to wind up doing something in your field because it's needed. It's part of telecommunications. It's part of the virtual world. It's part of entertainment. It's part of education. It's part of medicine. What we do as filmmakers, we do it for every single thing that exists on a visual platform globally.
Definitely. Amen to that.
So, yeah.
And you'll go
that's where I get my
anywhere
passion.
too, right? You go anywhere in the world.
Yeah, 63 countries right now. That's how many countries I've been to. A lot of it too is because one time, it was like, hey, listen, you want to see the world? Make a movie. What do you mean make a movie? Make a movie. Get that movie into one festival, and then those judges at those festivals, they are directors of their own festivals in their own countries. And if they like your film, guess what? You're going and they're paying your way. And the next thing you know, boom, I have make a film. And I was traveling to all these films, doing press junkets, media tours, radio interviews, podcasts, television. I was doing everything just to promote my film that was gonna screen in a movie theater in their little town city of whatever, Huachupita, Peru, or something like that. And you're there for a couple of days and then you come home and then you leave again. And, unfortunately, because it was happening right now, it's sad. It's really, really bad. But then again, for the filmmakers, we can bring those events and activities to the tip of your finger by putting it on your phone and your tablet, your home, your TV, your smart TV, work wise. But for a filmmaker, it's kind of like, I'm like, damn, wow. So if I finish my Cuban film now, most likely if I get picked up, let's say I go to Sundance, which is in January, it's gonna be virtual, it's gonna be digital, I'll probably be doing a Q&A like this, to where we're doing this thing right now.
Right.
which
Absolutely.
is very different. It's very different than standing. I had to stand in front of 2,000 people in the movie theater in Havana to present my film, and then come out after the film and do Q&A for like 15, 20 minutes, and have everybody just asking questions, about how it was made. It's a different feel. The energy
Right.
is amazing, and you're learning culture too, because you're there for that 3 days, 4 days. Even like if you go to Chicago and you never been to Chicago and you're filmed, like I went to Chicago for the very first time. I was at the Chicago Latino Film Festival, and every day there was an itinerary. Albert, we're taking you to the mosque. Now we're going to take you to the gay neighborhood, so you can promote your film, and you're going to meet all these these gay leaders and whatever. Now you're going to take you to eat here. You're going to go to John Hancock Building on the rooftop and see Chicago. So now you're like, not only are you showing your film at the festivals, but you're also learning culture, and you're learning about these countries that you've never been to, all paid for by the festival.
That's great.
And then you're connecting with all these filmmakers too, from different
So great.
countries, which is even more amazing. Yeah. So, and it just drives a passion that you're like, wow, all this experience, now I can pass it on. And then, I have mentors. When I left DR, I left a lot of students back there, and we're still in touch, like every other
So
day, every
great.
week, even in Cuba through Facebook. They hit me up. Hey, look, Al, I shot this. What do you think? And they'll send me the link, and I'm looking at it on YouTube. I'll
So
give them a
cool.
pointer or two. The kid, he did an amazing, amazing job. I was like, my God, I love it. Listen, can you get a visa? No, I can't get a visa. They won't give me a visa to leave the country. I was like, all right, I'm gonna get your film into a festival. Call my friend up in San Francisco, had a festival over there. Boom, his film premiered in front of 5,000 people in San
Wow.
Francisco.
That's pretty awesome.
Again, it's that connection, right? The
Definitely.
networking. That's the biggest thing in life. If you don't
Definitely.
have that, you're like stuck.
That's
Yeah.
exactly. And that's one of the things that I love so much about LinkedIn, is because you connect with people
Yeah.
you might not necessarily connect
Hmm.
with, and it keeps people in touch, like we've kept in touch since we met, where
Right.
you can just kind of, fall back into place whenever you talk to them again.
Hmm. Just
So,
like that.
yeah. You are so inspiring to me, and I love your
Thank you
energy
so
and
much.
everything that you're doing. If
But listen,
yeah,
Melanie, anything that you need on your end, I'm here for you. And
thank
I'm here
you.
for your audience. Anyone wants to reach out to me, I'm on all the platforms. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on
Okay.
Facebook. I'm more active on IG than anything else, because that's where I
Okay.
have like a lot of my followers and stuff. And
Okay.
I
What's your
have like
handle?
direct messaging. So my handle on Instagram is called World of Xavier, which is
Okay.
my last name, Xavier.
Okay.
Um, and Facebook, I'm Albert Xavier, just Albert Xavier. And then my production company is called Infinity, which is this logo right here, Infinity Filmworks. Infinity Filmworks is also on Instagram and Facebook as well. And we're also on Vimeo. Like if you want to see but if you go to Instagram or Facebook, you go to my bio, that'll take you straight to my website, where you can
Awesome.
actually see all the works, like all the videos and stuff that I've done, and all the interactive stuff, and why not,
That's so great. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we definitely have to connect
anytime.
again soon.
Yes, we definitely have to connect again.
For sure. I want to hear all
For
about
sure.
all the stuff that you're doing, because it's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, and I'll send you links. I'll send you some like when I get that cut for the film, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I want to.
Um, where I'm working on something pretty big right now. Um, it's a concert, virtual concert. I'll just say what it is. But it's with possibly with Janet Jackson, because Janet Jackson she canceled her tour prior to the pandemic. She already had like a whole scheduled tour. So now they're trying to do like some sort of like virtual thing, because she doesn't want to lose the momentum.
Right.
So I'm actually part of the team that's putting it together. So it's something that's gonna be pretty big.
Very
So I'll
exciting.
send you an invite for that.
Awesome. That sounds good. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I hope you Have an amazing rest of your day, and let's definitely keep in
You
touch.
too. You
Thank
too. And
you.
stay safe,
Thank you
you
so
know?
much,
And and
Albert.
and to everyone that's watching this, just be good to one another and just spread a lot of love.
That's
That's
right.
it.
I love that.